Ladies and gentlemen, please notice that exits are conveniently located at the front and rear of this auditorium. When leaving the theater, we suggest that the exit at the front of the auditorium will allow you easier access to the parking areas. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mike Butler.
And I'm Mike Field.
And this is Forgotten Cinema, a podcast where we talk about films that seem to be forgotten by audiences, whether it be because a more popular movie was released at the same time or the film simply didn't catch on with an audience member in its initial run. We'll discuss what we love about the movie, maybe don't love about it, but we always recommend you revisit it. You never know. You might find your own forgotten gem. If you love Forgotten Cinema or hate us, let us know. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTubes. We're everywhere with a backlog of over 300 episodes for your pleasure.
Do you think there's someone out there who hates us? I think it's not like we're like really hot takes.
Our first negative review for our podcast years ago, was you don't make it until you got a hater, and they rated us 1 star. And I was like, yeah. So we have one guy who does it, who's like probably our
or a woman. Wow. Oh, hey, Mike, what's going on?
Nothing much. I have no fun setup for this one. I don't think it's appropriate.
Oh, no fun setup. Why not?
All right. So anyway.
No. All right. I guess that's that. Well, we did one for the Killing Fields, didn't we? All right, that's fine.
No, I did not. I did the same comment where I was like,
we're doing the 2005 film Munich. So I guess we'll get right into that. This might be, if not one of the longest films we've ever done on the show.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if we've ever done a 3-hour film, but this is very close. We haven't
done 3, but I think we've done other ones that were close around 240 and stuff. We've done longer films.
I feel like 85% confident in saying that I think this is the longest film we've ever done.
It could be.
But yeah, so anyway. So yes, we're doing Munich. So let's get into it, and then we'll get into all the heady topics and it'll trust me. There's a lot of filmmaking that I like in this film. So don't worry about the hot button topic and the political issues and all that stuff. We're not here to solve anything. We're here just to discuss the movie, Mike. Don't worry.
To solve.
All right. Munich has a runtime of 164 minutes. It's rated R, production budget of $70 million. It came out, we'll do the limited release, came out unlimited on 532 theaters. I was going to say screens, but 532 theaters on Friday, December 23rd, 2005. So obviously it's a Christmas movie. Its opening weekend, it did $4.2 million. Its total domestic was 47. Its international total was 84 for a worldwide total of $131 million. Production companies were DreamWorks Pictures, Universal Pictures, Amblin Entertainment, the Kennedy Marshall Company, and Barry Mendel Productions. And it was distributed by Universal Pictures. All right, so here, bear with me. Whew, here is the
time to butcher the casting crew.
No, I have actually looked up pronunciations.
Ooh,
that's right. I'm talking about the hodgepodge of releases that is around the Christmas time of 2005. So I'm going to go back to the 16th. Obviously, this movie came out on the 23rd, so let's go the week prior, 12/16. Before we do that, let's go to 12/14 with a Wednesday before, which we had King Kong. Peter Jackson's King Kong came out, a big film back then.
That's on our list.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
I like it.
Okay. Yeah.
I think you like it too, right? I think we talked about it. Like, it's not perfect, but it's better than most people say.
I do. I always remember the scene when they're running and the dinosaurs are running and everyone's falling and the apes are, I don't know, whatever.
The rip-off Velociraptor scene?
Yeah, I remember that. Anyways, wide release on the 16th was The Family Stone, which is a Field family favorite in this house. On the limited release of Hoodwinked. On the 21st, which is that Wednesday, you had a wide release of Cheaper by the Dozen 2 and Fun with Dick and Jane. On the 23rd, when Munich came out, it went up against The Ringer, that is the Johnny Knoxville movie, and Memoirs of a Geisha. On Christmas Day, 2 days after this, you had a wide release of Rumor Has It, Wolf Creek, and The Producers. Wolf Creek seems like a weird Christmas movie to do. It's like isn't that like an indie horror film?
I believe it is. Yeah. If it's the movie I'm thinking of, that's
it is. I think it is. And then the 30th of December, you had a limited release on the 28th, of Match Point, and then you had a limited release of The Matador on the 30th, which is a Pierce Brosnan film. So those are the Christmas movies.
Which one's Match Point? That sounds familiar.
Match Point is the Woody Allen film where they're playing tennis. It's, like it's like a couple's. There's like some kind of, I don't know if there's a murder, but there's some kind of like infidelity and did they, don't they kind of, something like that. Yeah,
that sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's actually one of his good ones. One of his in his later years, there were a lot of misses, but this was actually a pretty good one. I know you don't like Woody Allen, so I'm sure I'll
Not a
never
huge
be on the
fan.
show.
I like the one with the writers. With
yeah, with Owen Wilson, you said, right?
Yeah,
It's fudge. Midnight. Something. Fudge.
That's a good one. I don't remember that.
What is
Midnight
it?
Sounds right.
It's something with midnight.
Come on, boss.
Oh man.
Midnight in Paris. Midnight in
Yes.
Paris.
What year?
That is 2011.
Oh, so close yet so good. All right. Back to this movie. Munich is directed by Steven Spielberg. I'd like to think you know what he has done already. My note here for his other credits is, come on, I've done this already before.
Because we've done a movie with Steven Spielberg.
Sugarland Express.
And nothing else is forgotten. So that's.
I mean, honestly, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Jaws, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I mean, I could go
Jurassic
on
Park.
and on. The Post, which just came. I'm doing recent ones
Bridge
now.
of Spies.
Bridge of Spies.
War
Yeah,
Horse.
Bridge of Spies. Yeah. War Horse. Yep, another good one. Tons of films.
That's on our list, War Horse. Because I don't think anybody talks about War Horse.
I love War Horse. Anyways, screenplay was Tony Kushner and Eric Roth. They did not write it together. Kushner wrote the first script, and then Roth.
I thought
rewrote
that
it.
was an interesting note that I didn't really get a lot of
The note that he
backstory. Like he wanted Kushner to read.
I got that. So the note I have is that this is based on a book called, I don't want to say
Vengeance?
it's not, I don't know if it's Vengeance, it's something else. It's like a subtitle to it. And once Spielberg got the rights to the book, he commissioned 3 scripts.
Right.
From David
Couldn't
Webb
do it better.
Peoples and Janet Peoples, and David Peoples has done Forgiven, Janet Peoples did 12 Monkeys, Charles Randolph, who did The Big Short, amongst other things, and Eric Roth. And then, then he took the Eric Roth script and had Kushner rewrite it. Yeah. So that's what he did.
It's always the plan. Kushner was going to rewrite whatever.
This is Kushner's Kushner's
screenplay.
is a playwright. This is one of his first
screenplays.
But since then he's done basically most of Spielberg's Lincoln.
Yeah, he's worked on Lincoln, the Fablemans. He worked on.
So that was weird. So imagine like I don't think there's any other director that can just basically get 3 people to get paid to write a movie. I don't know which one I'm going to pick, but I'm going to pay you all to write it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Kushner, as Mike told you, did The Fablemans, Lincoln, and West Side Story. He was nominated for the first 2, Fablemans and Lincoln. Eric Roth has 7 Oscar nominations, and he won for Forrest Gump. Cinematographer was Janusz Kaminski, who has 7 Oscar nominations. He won twice for Saving Private Ryan and Schindler's List. Hey, guess what? Those are Spielberg films as well.
Those are serious historical films.
Those are, might I say, great films. Composer was John Williams. You don't know him. Whoa, you don't like Schindler's List?
No. I was joking. It's like, are they?
Whoa. Still, my wife has not seen Schindler's List. So I know that we said that a while back.
No, so it's only been like 2 episodes since last time we said that.
Yeah. John Williams is the composer. I don't know. He's head that much.
I have no idea who he is. Only everything that was ever important ever.
Yes, indeed.
He's the greatest composer in film history.
Let's calm down.
Ever. Although it's a very minimal score in this film.
Yeah, you don't want the music to get in the way of what's going on here. Edited by Michael Kahn, who has 8 nominations and won for 3. Saving Private Ryan and Schindler's List, of course, and Raiders of the Lost Ark. I will not call it by its new name. Produced by Kathleen
Indiana
Kennedy.
Jones and
No.
no.
Produced by Kathleen Kennedy, Barry Mandel, Steven Spielberg, Colin Wilson. Kennedy has done Star Wars and everything else that Disney Plus has going out there right now. Okay.
That's a lie.
Mandel.
Andor season 2 is really good, but that's more Tony Gilroy.
Mandel has done The Sixth Sense, which he got nominated for Best Picture, so he got nominated for an Oscar, and The Big Sick. Spielberg has pretty much Transformers movies, any Men in Black, any action film, any adventure action plot. Yeah, any
especially
big
produced by
time
Universal.
summer film. He's produced it. Colin Wilson has done Amistad and Detroit. All right. So the cast, which it is a big cast, but I kind of stuck with our 5 guys and their contacts. I didn't go too deep because there's
a ton of people that aren't as important. Yeah.
So Eric Bana as Avner, who's our leader here. He's in from Hulk, Troy, Chopper, and the TV show Dirty John. Hasn't done a lot lately.
I noticed that. I also didn't realize how quickly he blew up.
Yeah.
Chopper I knew he was a comedian to start, but I didn't know it was like he went from comedian to Chopper.
Mm-hmm.
And then immediately like Hulk.
He got this movie from Hulk.
He got this from Hulk, which I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Although Hulk, he's got a lot of turmoil in Hulk, and it's a lot of It's a lot of father stuff in his Hulk movie.
True, that's true.
With Nick Nolte, so that's probably why.
That's true. Daniel Craig as Steve, obviously from the James Bond series and Knives Out series, amongst other things.
1 year away from being James Bond when he did this.
Yeah. He probably already
had gotten it.
By the time this movie came out, he probably had already gotten. I would assume. I'd
assume it was filming by now.
Yeah. Kieran Hines as Carl, not Kieran, as I saw. It's Kieran.
It's Kieran.
That's what I read.
Well, okay.
He's nominated for an Oscar for Belfast. He's also in Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy,
movie we did quite a while ago.
The TV show. He was in Game of Thrones for like 5 or 6 episodes, and he's also in the TV show The Terror. I don't know if you had seen The Terror.
I didn't. I know you liked it.
I did like it. I read the book. So anyways. Maciej Katsowitz as Robert. He is our bomb maker. He's from Amelie and the Crimson Rivers. He's more of a writer-director. The note I have in the facts is that he was not going to, he told his agent, I do not want to be put up for any acting roles. I want to focus on directing and writing my own stuff. And then Spielberg came calling. He's like, no, I will do that.
For Spielberg, yes.
Which I mean, is a no-brainer. Hans Schisler as Hans. I guess they use the same name from Flame and Citron and Clouds of Sils Maria. Jeffrey Rush as Ephraim, who is I guess their contact, right? Yeah.
He's kind of there. Yeah.
He doesn't run them, but he does run them, but he's not really.
There's a name for what he is.
He's not the overall boss.
But I can't remember what it is, but yeah.
He's been nominated for 4 Oscars and has won one for Shine. He was nominated for Shakespeare in Love, Quills, and The King's Speech. Michael Lonsdale as Papa, who is the other contact is Louis. Louis is his son. So they're the guys that are giving them the information on where to find these terrorists. Lonsdale's from Ronin, Moonraker. I don't know if you remember from Moonraker.
Yeah.
And the 1973, The Day of the Jackal.
You know what I was realizing when I was watching this is he looks like an older Peter Dinklage, and he has almost the exact same voice as Peter Dinklage. I was like, wow, it's very similar.
Yeah. Matthew Amari as Louis from Quantum of Solace.
That's right.
The Diving Bell and the Butterfly and the Grand Budapest Hotel. And then Ayolet Zurer as Daphne. That is Avner's wife. She's in Angels and Demons and Man of Steel. I don't know if she's...
And Daredevil.
That's right.
Kingpin's wife.
That's right. Yeah.
I think that's where most people probably know it from.
Now they do. Yeah. All right. That's pretty much the cast that you need to know.
And then a whole bunch of people that get killed, blown up, stabbed, shot.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of the people were cast for looks like they look like their counterparts. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. Especially the guy who played, what the heck was his name? What's the head terrorist name for Black September?
Samadhi or something like that.
Yeah.
I think it's Samadhi.
No, it's I said his name. Anyways, this film, before we get into, I'll give you some more facts. This film was nominated for 5 Academy Awards, but it did not win. It was nominated for Best Director, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Picture, Best Original Score, Best Editing, which...
The editing is very interesting, too, the note about that.
Yeah, I'm surprised, though, it wasn't nominated for Best Cinematography, and I didn't really go look and see what it was up against and whatnot. I also didn't realize that this was a rush job. They filmed from June 29th to September 29th of 2005 for a Christmas movie of 2005. And that's because he had to reshoot the ending of The Terminal, and that pushed everything back. And initially he was going to do this film a couple years prior, but Tom Cruise's schedule opened up, which allowed him to do War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise, which pushed this movie back. But so this film got pushed even further because he had to finish up The Terminal, which pushed Ben Kingsley out because Ben Kingsley was already cast as Ephraim, the Jeffrey Rush role. And because The Terminal was late, the schedule for Munich gets pushed, and Ben Kingsley had already agreed to be in Oliver Twist. I don't know. I think a production.
I think it was a production, yeah.
And so that would have affected the Oliver Twist role. So Kingsley had to drop out of Munich, and that's why you have Jeffrey Rush here, which I thought was very interesting. I kind of would have. I like Jeffrey Rush in the role, but I would have liked to have seen what Ben Kingsley would have done with that.
Would have been interesting.
Yeah,
I like the note about the editing, how it was edited like the weekends or like at that night. They would shoot some of it, and they had like one set of scenes ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
He would do the dailies, look at them, cut them, send them to. Ben Burt was doing the sound design, I believe, and then send it back over, then send it to John Williams to do music while he's still filming and editing other pieces of scenes.
Yeah. Well, that's like how Steven Soderbergh edits. because he shoots his own stuff and he directs when he directs a movie, he's shooting it as well. He's lensing it. He will direct. He'll direct on the ride home from set in his car. He'll start editing on the ride home, whether that's cutting dailies or putting it together. But he is such a fluid process with him, and that's how he's always worked. Which is like, dear Lord,
yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. But something like this, when they want it to get out at a certain time, you gotta do what you gotta do, I guess.
The other note is it's pretty like, I don't know, because Spielberg wanted to be nominated for Oscars because he knew he was going to be nominated for Oscars. It's like,
yeah, I guess
I'm not knocking because like he's the greatest. So he just knows if I make this movie, I'm going to be nominated. So it's like, I have to get this out for this Oscar season because I want my Oscars. I want my Oscar noms.
But to be fair, that's also not just for him. That's Universal pushing it because we want
that big critical movie.
They might not have an Oscar film that year. So that's not, it's not just him being like, oh, I want the accreditation. It's everybody that's worked on the movie.
It's just, I don't think it's so much as I want the accreditation. I just think it's more that he knows he'll get the accreditation.
Well, I'm sorry, but like when you're the GOAT, you're the GOAT, I apologize. I mean, you can't apologize for that. Anyways, let's get into this film because I know you're worried about us talking about it. I've seen this. Obviously, I saw this movie in the theaters, and I've seen this movie several times since. I talk about this movie constantly with my friend Adrian, which I've mentioned on the show before. I actually know that he does when he does classes on cinematography or shot selection or framing. He uses the scene where they blow the bomb up, the bomb that's in the phone in Paris.
Right.
He uses that scene as a way to teach the students that he's talking with about tension in the scene, how to build a moment, how to build a scene with the framing and shot selection and whatnot. So there's a lot of filmmaking in this film. There's a lot of really cool filmmaking stuff going on. Obviously, it's a hot button topic. Obviously, it's something that is very heady. I'm curious if I don't even know if you like this film, but even in regard to that, I'm curious if with this watch, if anything changed, good or bad, or you found anything different came to you watching it again.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't watched this film. I did not watch it in theaters.
I mean, it's 20 years old. This movie's 20 years old. That's amazing. We're old.
Yeah. I think some of the age from the film, like the grain, is a little extra grain on the film. But yeah, a lot changed from this watch from the first watch. The first watch, I watched this movie maybe first year of college, so maybe 2007, like not long after it came out, but definitely not in theaters. And I remember, just the content being like, oof, it's rough. It's depressing. It's Spielberg. So I was like, I got to watch it. And just being like, kind of like bummed out by the movie, being more into, like, I remember thinking the themes of what killing and just constant killing does to a person. And I mean, that's definitely a theme in this movie. And I think it's maybe the main theme, but I remember it being way more palpable coming on early on. I remember them having more doubts about their job from the get-go than they really do. And this time the cinematography definitely stuck out. The lighting, the color, the coloring of the film, I think this time was something I definitely paid attention to.
It's very hot sometimes.
Yes.
Very, very bright, very hot.
Very blown out.
Well, I can't remember. I can't pinpoint the movie where he started doing this with Kaminsky. Maybe it might have been Saving Private Ryan.
Saving Private Ryan does have some blown outs.
He at some point in his career just started to favor that look. Him and Kaminsky, Spielberg and Kaminsky, and all of his movies have been like you notice it in War of the Worlds, this film. Right. Very the windows are blown out.
The first one that stopped that.
What's that?
War Horse is probably the first one that kind of went back.
War Horse is
color palette.
It's that Gone with the Wind color palette. Yeah, it's that paint. It's supposed to be that kind of like you're watching a
tapestry.
Yes, a painting come to life. I mean, the scenes where the horse in War Horse, when he's at the farm, is specifically shot like Gone with the Wind because that's what he asked for. It's what he wanted. And it was like, because I could keep going to War Horse because I love the windmill scene. I love the scene when the horses are going or bringing the.
Well, then pick it for the next season.
No, sorry. But yeah, so for some reason he's favored that blown out look, which I dig. I like it and it works.
It works for this film for sure. The other thing I didn't remember is, well, I mean, we can get into some of like the specific thing. I don't want to get too specific, but I remembered the flashback to the hostage crisis in Munich I remembered that being one continuous scene. I did not remember that it's so broken apart.
Right.
When it opens with the scene and then it cut, I was like, wait, but the guy didn't jump out the window and the knife scene. I was
so
where's all the other-
you forgot that they
it's
kept
broken
going
up
back
and they
to
keep
it.
going back
Yes.
to it. I forgot all about that.
Right.
And I don't know if that works as well for me in the second watch. I think I'd rather it be one. It feels kind of like almost just like chapter markers now. And I don't know if I like that as much as I would like it in one scene.
Well, think of somebody who watches this movie now who may have no idea about what happened at the Munich games, and which is what, 50 years ago now?
I mean, before I saw this movie, I had no idea.
Right. I wonder if
not this watch,
if they go into the movie not understanding what happened, not knowing what happened, if those pieces play out where they think like it's one thing to say they didn't survive, but it's another thing to see what actually happens to them. You know, when they tosses a grenade into one of the helicopters, and then, you know, I mean, there are some really tough moments, especially the one moment I think of is the second chopper where they're just sitting there and they're not running, they're not moving, and the guy just stands there with the machine gun and he just fires, and there it's just even the scene when prior when the one of the wrestlers comes back and has the knife and they shoot him and but they like blow him away. They shoot him and they don't cut to the guy. You just see the wall getting blown
covered in blood. Yeah.
Covered in blood. And it's like, it keeps going. And then you're just like, this is just awful. And obviously, but those moments, I wonder if somebody who doesn't really understand what happened, if they would hit stronger for them. I'm just
hit stronger as the chapter.
Yeah. Because you and I know this story, and
right. I mean, I think the one thing that I like about separating it is you also, by separating it, then you get the news reports where they thought the hostages were safe.
Yes.
And then they're not. And I think that hit harder for me on this watch.
Yes.
I was like, oh, that's right. I forgot about that. And then you get to see them. Because if you just show everything that happens and then you show, hey, they're safe, you're like, oh, okay. They're not.
Yeah.
I don't think that hits as much. But to your point, if you already know the story, you already know that's a lie.
So I recommended this movie to you before. I'm gonna say it. I watched the movie September 5, which is about the Munich massacre, the Munich massacre in 1972. But it's from the perspective of ABC News, ABC Sports, and everything that went into that, and that whole idea of like where they announced that they're safe because the German broadcast was saying that everyone was okay.
Right.
And then they were like, let's announce it. Like, we don't have verification. They did this whole thing with it. And going into that movie, I was like, I know this. I want to see it, but I'm like, am I really going to be enthralled by it?
Right.
But it was really good. And it's a really cool look at the Munich massacre from the idea of the people that covered it. Cause they were not news. They were not ABC News. It was sports, and they were consistently getting
railroaded by the guys.
And back then, I'm going to get into it. Back then, you had to, like, they were sharing airtime with CBS and ABC, like, so that they could show the Olympics at different parts. And so when CBS has the satellite,
not everybody had the same game.
So CBS has the satellite. They were like, no, we're not going to give it to you. Like, they would lose. So they had to like bargain to get more airtime to be on there. So it was really interesting, but I recommend it. September 5. It's a really good movie. You brought up something before, unless you had another point.
No, that's it. But what if you show at least what happened in the dorm in one scene and then cut to the airport?
Oh, I think all that stuff, the pieces that you're seeing throughout the movie about what happens at the massacre is from Avner's point of view. And I think it's a consistent reminder to Avner, like why he's doing anything and what he's doing. And if he has any doubts, and just the moral implications of what he's doing and the reasoning behind why he's doing it. And it's a struggle for him, but he's haunted not only by the memories and the nightmares of the things that he is doing to avenge that, but what actually happened at that. So I think that's part of that. That's why it's there. It's also meant to remind you. It's also meant to give you that other side of, because it's very easily, you could watch this film, and because one of the themes is the moral cost of vengeance, where it's, like you said, like
Right.
when something happens and you're like, we have to respond, but at what point, how much do you respond and what do you respond? How do you respond? And,
Yeah, the very
and
first
are you just
the shooting was the bomb in the airport.
Right.
Or no, the shooting was the mail bombs. Then it was the airport attack.
Yeah. They're where
Palestinians are retaliating.
What's his face is talking about
PLC
Carl. Yeah, PLO.
Yeah.
Carl is saying, we are in a dialogue with each other because they assassinated and then they had the bomb and then they had another bomb in the airport. Like we're now in dialogue. We're talking with each other.
I like that line.
But also the other theme you have here is the cycle of violence where you are perpetuating this violence over and over again. Like you kill, I kill, you kill, I kill.
Yeah.
When does it end? How does it end? Quite honestly, it probably will never end, but it's just, it's that cycle of violence that Avner has to deal with, that they all have to deal with. So I think that's also why it's there too. You also, other themes you had here, you had these guys, these five are soldiers in a sense, and they're going off to fight a battle. But like, are they though? Isn't there are they just terrorists, just like the Black September group? So that blurred line between terrorism and actually being a soldier. The other theme you have here is this is a movie that's about historical events. It says based on true events at the beginning of the film, but how authentic do you have to be to those historical events versus your interpretation, your artistic interpretation of what you're trying to show on screen? So like for the sense of drama, for the sense of tension and that, like, they completely don't talk about, there's a part where in real life, they killed the wrong person.
Right. There's someone getting off the train. And that was a train target, which they don't even show in the movie. They don't even talk about that victim.
Mm-hmm.
And they shot him. He was next to a pregnant woman. And it turns out that pregnant woman was this man's wife. And the man wasn't the terrorist at all. He was a Moroccan waiter.
Yeah. So but they don't bring that. They don't
stop. That's what stopped it. Not that like, oh, you did good, Avner, come back. It was like, no, this mission's over. You killed.
Yeah.
Because they say at the beginning, no innocent victims. No women, no
women, no civilians, no collateral.
And they purposely killed a civilian on accident.
I understand why it's not in the movie because they're already grappling. They're already asking these questions. They're already talking. There's a lot of discussion between the group of the five men about what they're doing and is what they're doing right or wrong.
Right.
When Robert, right, the bomb maker. Was his name Robert? Yeah. When they're getting on the train to avenge their friend's death, and Robert's like, everything I have is me being a Jew, my faith. This is at the core of who I am. Doing what we're about to go do is against that. I can't lose that. I can't lose myself. And like, that idea is something that's discussed amongst them throughout the film. So if you have a scene where they kill the wrong person, it almost like brings everything to a halt.
Oh, then it's an absolute, and then it's
so I get why that's not in there. And then the other theme that we could talk about or is in here is the idea of Avner's psychological decline, his paranoia,
the cost of violence.
Yes, the cost of everything.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah,
which is what I thought the theme was from the movie, but like way earlier on. It really comes a little later.
I think it comes up a little bit. I think it's brought to the forefront in terms of just people like, do you know what you have to do? And Avner in the beginning is kind of like, this is my mission. I'm just going to do it. But it
was a little green at first.
Right.
Yeah.
But then as they get going, he's like, I want the names. Let's go. Let's get like, he's all in.
It's almost like the first shooting really just like, I've done it.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's no going back.
Right.
Because that first shooting, he's got the gun pointed at the guy in Italy.
Yes.
And he lowers, oh, hold on. Let's talk.
Yeah.
And then they ended up shooting him.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden it's time to celebrate because it's just.
Yeah, it's a very weird moment.
The guy
when they come back.
Yeah,
they're not sitting together, and is a celebration or is a joyous or something. I can't remember the word. They were jubilant or something like that.
It's not. Yeah, it's a celebration, but it's not like it's not something else.
Yeah.
And it's like not because we killed a man, but because we completed a mission or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of justifying their actions through. It's not that they're killing someone; it's that they're completing their mission that they were sent to do.
Yeah. And if you view this movie from these themes, the cost of violence, the morality of it, the cycle of violence, it takes on a different shape. It's not just about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. It's not just about, the Munich massacre. It's about Avner and mostly Avner, but just like what it took to do what he had done or what this group did and the cost of it.
Yeah.
There's not really a happy ending when he's in New York with his wife, because he will still always be fearful that somebody's coming after him. He will still always have these haunted memories of the things he did.
I love the line probably within this. It's early in the second act where they talk about, who is it that says it? It's Carl's character who says it. I once knew a Mossad agent who slept in his closet because he was so fearful for his life of retribution that he always slept in his closet. Funny, isn't it? And toward the end of the movie, Eric Bana's character, Abner, thinks he hears something in his room, tears everything apart, and ends up, by the end of the movie, he is gaunt, he is gray, he's got like red eyes, and he sleeps in his closet, kind of shaking back and forth because he is just, he doesn't know what's going to happen to him.
Yeah.
And that's the cost of what he did. You'll never be safe. You'll never feel safe again.
Yeah. And I think at the heart of this film, like that's, in terms of the characters, like that's the core. That's the essence of this movie in terms of the characters of Avner and the people involved, just the toll it takes. And when you look at this movie through that lens, there's a lot of great stuff going on. There's a lot of really cool dissections of dialogue and dissections of character work. I'll say that the essence of the actions of the movie and the plot of the film and the overall world view of it is you can find that essence in the safe house, in the stairwell scene when he is talking to the guy, the PLO guy, and they're having that conversation about like, he's basically telling him for 100 of you, he's like, I'm the voice inside your head that's telling you that what you're doing doesn't make any sense. Like
you'll never have a country the way you're doing it.
Yeah. And he's basically breaking down like, why he's fighting, why the Palestinians are fighting. And that whole conversation is fascinating, but it's also the essence of what's going on, the actions of what's going on there. And probably honestly with the actions that go on since then.
Yeah. I found it was a little heavy handed. Like I was like, I know you have to have that scene.
Yeah.
But I was like, all right.
At one point, you're watching a dramatic movie. You're watching a performance.
Like, honest with you, and like you don't get the Avner's not on your side. Like I didn't get that. I was like, he's clearly a Mossad agent.
Well,
like, listen to
they state they Etta, I believe, is like, I don't want to say French, but German. They're coming off as a different. They're coming off as
tell them they're German
Secret Service or German
on the Russian side.
Yeah.
Eastern German.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole point of the reason why, the hits are starting to go. The reason why the people are starting to attack the team is because they killed the KGB agent outside of that hotel.
Right. Which is from that scene. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
They get sloppy, and then in New York they want to kill. Daniel Craig's character wants to kill the guards.
No, they're not in New York. They're in Europe somewhere.
Oh, they are in Europe somewhere.
Yeah,
you're right.
No, they're in London. They were in London. Yeah.
And the CIA guys stop them, but Daniel Craig's character, whose name I can't remember, Steve, is like, I don't care as long as they, I only care about Jewish boys.
Yes, yeah.
And he doesn't care, about the no civilians policy or whatever. And then,
he said they were guards.
Are they armed?
Yeah,
that's what matters. But Avner's like, no, it's only supposed to be the targets.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of interesting, where it's like, okay, Steve, like that's my one issue with the movie is like Steve is so like dead set on things. It's like the cost of violence is really only Avner. I mean, obviously, Robert
he's the focus.
Line, about I'm here to do the retribution, not do revenge and stuff like that.
Right.
But Steve is just like, I want to kill. Let's go. There's no moment where Steve falters. There's no moment where Steve feels bad. There's no moment where Steve changes. Steve doesn't look tired. Steve's like ready to go.
Yeah.
Avner is really the only one that really is affected.
I think Steve's more of a soldier. Steve's more of a.
Right. Do they explain Steve's background?
Not really. They talk about, the only thing with Steve is if you kind of, and not,
I know Jeffrey Rush quickly talks about
not
it.
I'm saying like, not if you paid attention, but like if you pay attention in the beginning, when they first have the meal, or at some point, Steve, when they're having a fight, Steve's like, great leadership right there. He gives them a hard time.
Sure, yeah.
But then later on, when they're going to do the debriefing of Avner, and Ephraim comes in and says like, he's praising, he says the best leader he's ever had. So you kind of get that I think Steve is a soldier through and through.
Everybody else had a cover. Like, well, Robert was a bomb maker, but he's a toy maker.
Yeah, he wasn't a bomb maker. He diffused bombs. Yeah.
Do you want to do this job? You usually diffuse.
Right. Hans is such. So Hans, the older guy, he is so. When Carl's having his reservations, Khan's like, then resign. What do you think we're here for? Like, he is like, let's do this.
He's very matter of fact.
Right. And to the point, and we haven't even gotten about one of our favorite scenes is when they go and assassinate the assassin that killed Carl. Yep. They kill her with those one shell guns, pipe guns. And the reasoning I saw in the facts was that those are so low cost that it wouldn't show up because they have to have receipts. They wouldn't be, questioned about that.
Because Hans is, that's one of my favorite things is the cost. We talk about the cost of violence, but Hans is literally tallying the cost of violence.
Yes.
This hit cost us 200 and something. Yes. This is a $322,000 hit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I thought that was so fascinating. Like, this is not a cheap operation.
No.
Like, it's like, you don't ever think about that in all these movies. And like James Bond goes to take out some guy and, in Europe somewhere, and you don't think about like, oh, that costs.
That's what those slush funds are for. That's what those slush funds are for. Yeah.
I thought it was so fascinating.
But
the pipe gun scene's awesome.
Yes. And they kill her, and then she's completely nude, and Avner goes to cover up, and Han's like, no, don't cover it up.
Yeah.
And then so my notes like, oh, what a badass move. And then later on, he's just like, he's wrought by that. He's just like, I really regret that happened. Like, I don't know why I told you to do that.
Because he's just so filled with revenge and anger. Like, screw her. She doesn't deserve any decency.
Right.
But I thought it was cool, the fact that she was a real assassin.
In real life.
Janet the Dutch.
Yeah.
Was considered one of the world's greatest assassins.
Yeah. And
in Europe back then.
The other thing I appreciate about that scene is they go do it, and I think a lot of times in this type of scene, there's a penchant or tendency for director to like, okay, let's make this where like she might get away and she has the upper hand. Like, no,
right, yeah.
They show up on the boat and she's like, can I help you? And they're just like, you know why we're here. And they're just like, it's like matter of fact, like you said, and it's just like, we're doing it.
Maybe I could work with you.
And just the effect of the gun, and when they hit and it's not bleeding yet.
Yeah,
and it's just slow. Sitting there.
It's so slow. She pets her cat.
It's so,
she sits down.
You feel terrible, obviously, but then you're like, but you killed Carl. Yeah. So
how many people has she killed?
Yeah. Really, really good. I'll give you some reviews. I was going to say facts. Okay. James Berardinelli says Munich is an eye-opener, a motion picture that asks difficult questions, presents well-developed characters, and keeps us white-knuckled throughout. He also named it his best film of the year, so I'm going to give you a negative one, though.
Ooh.
Rex Reed from the New York Observer. With no heart, no ideology, and not much intellectual debate, Munich is a big disappointment and something of a bore.
I think he's got a very clear point of view either way on this conflict. And he doesn't like that Spielberg says that both sides are wrong. And I think that bothers him in this movie. That's your opinion, dude. But
well, that's what critics are paid for. That's really
affecting your review, I think.
I wouldn't say that this was a bore. I know, we talked about, I don't know how you think, but I know what we talked about, how this was one of our longest films. It does not feel that long.
It doesn't feel that long, but it's still a little too long. But I don't know what you would cut.
Exactly.
But I do think it's a little long.
I disagree. I think there's nothing to cut.
You know what I would cut? And because I think we talked about it off air. I think you could cut some of the Louis stuff. I don't think you need to visit his father. You'd think the film has the theme of fathers, but it's already got 8,000 themes.
I think it does.
It does. But it's already got 8,000 themes. I'm okay with that, the father stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you could lose that, gain back 10 minutes, and I think it would make it a little smoother, because I also don't believe they really exist. Or at least they're not who they say they are.
Well, again, you're talking about the artistic interpretation versus authenticity. But we talked about it on screen. Like, what are you going to do? You're going to have him eat different people all the time?
No, I'm cool with him meeting Louis. I just like Louis saying that. But then I don't need to meet the family at the farm, because I still think even at the end, I still think Louis and his father are working for us. Like, I don't believe that you could be like this free agency of just the spy network. Like, this isn't Archer.
Well, for this film, maybe they are, but if you're saying like what's next for them, I'm sure that you're correct that at some point they're going to have to make choices and decisions.
Yeah, you can't keep going forever.
Sure.
Especially Aztec now. Like in the 70s, it's plausible, although like I said, still unlikely in the 70s. as technology advances and people like listening to devices, they're going to get found out.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Tom McCarthy from Variety says this is a beautifully made film, but he criticizes the film for failing to include compelling characters. Its use of a laborious plotting and flabby script. That's a quote. And he says that, quote, a lumpy and overlong morality play on a failed thriller template.
No?
Yeah, I know.
What?
Stupid. Come on, Todd. Fight me. I'm just kidding. I'm only joking. I wanted to go back to the cinematography because I wanted to talk about this when you brought it up. The Beirut scene when they go, which I love, when they go kill the 3 Black September members that are in Beirut. Remember they said
right. You can't go
only European countries. You can't go anywhere else.
Yeah.
But they wanted to go to this, so they have the Beirut scene. That scene looks different because they used a different kind of Fuji film stock. So there's that blue pastel effect in the movie. It has to be processed at a Fuji lab, which was in France for this one, because Technicolor labs don't use the calibrations for Kodak films, for prints, for film stocks. And the reprint was, they had a reprint is required if there's a case of a print printed to the wrong specification. So the quality of the films like that they use is so, I don't say rare, but unique,
specific. Yeah.
That it has to be a certain way they do it, but certain way they process it, but they did that way. So that's why when you watch the Beirut scene compared to the rest of the film, it looks a lot different. It's got that blue. It's also at night, but it's got that blue pastel effect. Very blue.
That was like one of my notes. Is like, this scene is blue.
And that's on purpose.
But I liked it because they were told they can't go, Beirut's, I guess you could consider that Soviet territory back then.
Well, Beirut's, it's not European.
Yeah.
It's Lebanon.
Yeah. But I like that it's like everything else is Europe for the most part.
Yeah.
So that's one color palette. And then they go to a whole different place in the world. So now it's blue. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
I also liked when they're changing into their the outfits on they're putting on the women's wigs and dresses and they're all kind of giggling. I was like, yeah, you can't, even hardcore Mossad agents aren't doing this without giggling. Like, I thought that was kind of cool. I also like when Avner stops the kid from getting killed.
Yeah, but
they're shooting all over the place. They're killing witnesses, and he's like, "Oh, whoa!"
But honestly, that kid's gonna grow up to be vengeful as well.
Yeah,
like that cycle of violence.
He created
returns.
a supervillain right there.
Yeah. Again, but that's that cycle of violence. That's kind of like in Kill Bill. When she kills,
kills Bill.
Vivica Fox's. No, kills.
Vivica Fox.
And she tells the daughter like, "You can
10 years, you can come find me." Yeah.
That's why when they always talk about Kill Bill Volume 3, I'm like, that's coming, right? Because that scene's coming. Anyways, I think we've covered a lot, and I know that we could keep going on and on and on. And I don't want to do a 5-hour episode, but I want to ask you, who would you recommend this to?
Well, before I do that, is there anything in this film that you don't like? Because there's something I really don't like in this film.
So I kind of
anything
in this film I don't like. Well, bring up what you. Well, maybe it's what I.
At the end, and I understand what they're trying to do, but when he is having sex with his wife and they flash back to the last bit of the hostages in Munich, I couldn't stop laughing.
When he's sweating,
because he's sweating, he's thrusting. Yeah. First of all, if you're that upset, you're not getting hard. You're not performing. I'm sorry, you're not. And second of all, what are you doing? Well, I don't understand. Like, I get what they're trying to say is that it's invading his life no matter where he is, but it was so overly done, so like super soapy. The first time I watched it, I thought it was like super serious and well done. And this time I just started laughing. I could not take that end scene seriously. And I just thought it was ridiculous.
So you don't like the juxtaposition of what's happening and then him having sex with his wife.
Happening and him and the amount that when he pulls his head back and the amount of sweat is like a fish tank being dumped on him.
It's a lot of sweat.
It was just.
It was a hot summer.
It was so dumb.
It was a hot summer in the 70s.
And I was like, wow, this. I was really like ruined.
It didn't take me out of the movie.
It didn't ruin the movie for me, but I couldn't. I laughed.
I did not have that reaction you had. I'm not going to sit. I mean, it's fine. I don't care. I mean,
the first time I saw it, I was like, wow, that's film. This time when I watched it, I was like,
I'm curious why those shot choices were made. It might be because, like you say, it's invading every part of his life, and he's trying to have a moment with his wife. But
I get the thematics. Yeah.
No. I'm just talking through it.
Sure.
So it would be interesting to understand that thought process, from Spielberg and the editor and what they were doing there. But I know there's not a lot I don't there's nothing really much I don't like in this film. I'm fascinated by the conversation, like when the prime minister is trying to justify what they're about to do. And she's like talking to her generals and they're just like, oh, and she's like, there's justification for this, right? There is. Like she's trying, like that whole scene when she's trying to figure that out. The mother stuff when she knows what he's doing and he's like, I'll tell you. And she's like, you don't need to tell me.
Yeah, it seems like everybody, it's like a terribly kept secret.
Right.
In Israel.
Well, I mean,
there's
of course,
two guys that are like, we're not supposed to know what you did.
Well, I mean, the terrorists are being murdered as it's go. Of course, something's going on. Yeah. I think it's fascinating that in this movie they and whether I didn't see if this is proven or not, but they talk about how like the Americans are in bed with the Black September groups, giving him money so that they won't kill American diplomats
because they're killing diplomats everywhere. Yeah.
But so I thought that was fascinating and how the CIA stopped them from the assassination.
Yep.
I thought that was in the movie. I'm not saying that that's what happened. I'm just saying in the movie, it's fascinating.
Which one of those guys is the guy from Mad Men, right?
Which one? No.
He does because he looks like him.
He might be in. He's not one of the main people. He may be like maybe a guest appearance for something.
Oh, because he looked like his boss.
Oh, Sterling? No, it's not Sterling.
Like Sterling.
No, it's not.
It clearly isn't because it's not.
It's not John Slattery. No. You mean Tony Stark's dad?
Tony Stark's dad.
All right. So, aside from people who are into history,
anybody studying film?
Yeah, I know.
That's the shots, the way it's filmed. You know, you look at Spielberg and go, "Oh, Spielberg is a Spielberg film." This does not look like a Spielberg film, other than using the washed out colors.
But is this one of those movies that if you suggest to somebody and they don't like it, you're going to get offended?
No, if they say they don't like the way it's filmed, like if they're like, "Oh, this movie is like it looks like garbage," then I'd be like, "Whoa." But if they don't like this film, it's long. If you're not that into the subject matter, if it upsets you and you just couldn't watch it, if it's slow and boring because you need, I get that. This is a film for a very specific audience. This is a film for people that like history or film, and that's really it. But I wouldn't recommend this to just anyone. You know, I'm not playing this for Joe Blow.
Joe Blow.
Well, what are you watching? I'm not recommending it. If someone at my job goes, what movie did you guys cover this week? You know, there are a couple of guys at my work where I would say, hey, like one of the guys watched September 5th and loved it. Went to the theater to see it. I would recommend this to him if he hadn't seen it, but he had. But like, I'm not recommending this to just any other person. I'm not being like, oh, watch Munich. You guys should watch it. If you love film, if you're watching this show, you already love film, and you should watch Munich if you haven't already. Clearly, we're spoiling stuff, but it's a historical event. We're not really spoiling anything. I just can't see someone not liking the way it's filmed. But anything else, if you tell me, that's fine. That's okay. But if you tell me it's a bad film, like it looks like garbage, like it's shot like garbage, then no, you're wrong. No,
any Spielberg films you're watching somebody who is at the top of their craft. And I've said this already, so I don't want to keep going down this road. But if you don't like Spielberg, you just don't like. You're not liking it for the right reason.
Right.
So yeah, no, I think, this, I would recommend this movie to, I wouldn't recommend this movie to everybody because it's definitely a heady topic. I think you need to go into it with like, it's something you want to watch. It's really difficult because it's not really like I can recommend.
Like, hey, I gotta watch this. Let's watch it. Yeah.
But it's like I said, at the start of the show, I love this film. So I was really excited to watch it.
I'll be honest, I was not excited to watch this film because like I knew it was a downer, and I was like,
it's not a downer. It's got a lot of drama. Yeah, but that doesn't mean it's a downer. A downer is like the ending of The Mist. Like I don't want to watch The Mist because I know how it ends. I'll never watch
The Mist again.
So like that's a downer to me. This is just a drama.
It's a drama. But
it's like watching it's like watching an what's the word I'm looking for? Like an not artistic, but like a fictional narrative documentary.
Sure. That's all. Like I was like, I gotta watch it, but I was like, all right.
Oh no,
I had to like be ready for it. I was like, all right, let's go.
Because I like the Beirut scene. I like the scenes when they're doing the assassinations. I love the dialogue is really awesome. No, I was all in.
How many times have you seen this film?
This like front to back.
Whatever.
Maybe this is my third time, but I've seen scenes. Like I'll watch scenes or I'll see moments, or if it's on, oh, check this out. Like it's not, I wouldn't say like I pop it in and just watch it. Like, yeah, no, but it's I do not think there are a lot of other downer films in terms of just using that word you use, but like I don't view this movie as that. I just view this as like a really solid. Like Schindler's is probably a little bit more of a downer, I guess. Although Schindler's List is really good too. I love Schindler's List.
He saved so many Jews though.
I love his stuff. Anyways, well then why is it forgotten then if it's so great? If I'm saying it's fantastic, why is it forgotten?
It's one of many Spielberg films. I mean, you're recommending. I mean, if you're looking at historical epics for Spielberg films, I'm recommending Saving Private Ryan over this film.
See, but there is a difference between. It's funny because I would really love to take his films by decade or by era, kind of like when he started making certain, because there obviously he has his adventure films and Raiders and Jurassic and all that stuff, but then there's our
blockbuster era.
Yeah, but still, War of the Worlds, not even War of the Worlds. Minority Report could be grouped in with that. Maybe War of the Worlds can be grouped in with that. But then you have this, you have The Post, you have Bridge of Spies, you have there's other movies that he's done that is more dramatic and more deal with political issues or deal with adult issues and adult themes. So even The Fabelmans I will put into there because that's a little bit more.
But again, you're listing like a bajillion films.
I know.
So I think that's why this gets a little buried. The subject matter is controversial, and I just think it's easier to recommend Saving Private Ryan. It's easier to recommend if you're looking for something that represents maybe Spielberg's Jewish experience. If you were doing like a class, I would choose Schindler's List over this.
Well, if you're looking for something about his personal experience and watch
I meant his Jewish experience,
like
what he thinks about like being Jewish and stuff.
Sure.
That was what reconnected him with his Jewish roots. The Fabelmans obviously about his life. So there's just so many other films, even within this era of his filmmaking, that I think this kind of gets pushed back, not because it's not great, but because it's just controversial and it's maybe just harder to talk about. Like, obviously, we've done a good job talking about it. I'm surprised. I'm not surprised, but I'm glad because I was really worried about getting. How do you talk about the subject matter without getting it? And I think that's what people that might turn people off to this film.
Well, we're not supposing that we know everything about that.
Absolutely. No, yeah. But I just think that that's why it's pushed down. I think that there's other films that are just,
don't be afraid to watch scary things like that.
There are other films that are better than this as well within Spielberg's, even within this era. This is a great film, but Spielberg makes great films.
Yep.
And I think that makes it hard to choose one out of the bunch.
I mean, this is Mike, you're off your rocker, but I don't know if there's ever been a bad Spielberg film. Granted, I know that Always is out there.
I forgot about Always.
I know.
Everybody hates the comedy 1947 or whatever.
1941.
41.
People don't like 1941.
I've actually never seen.
They don't like 1941 because he doesn't like it. This is my one thing with him is that he goes back and has regrets on the films that he makes, and it's like, dude, you made the film at a certain time in your life where it's a screwball comedy. Yes, it deals with there's some inappropriateness in the movie, but you can't shy away from that. That's like removing the shotguns from E.T. and all that stuff. It's just
this is how I hold my walkie-talkie.
Yeah. So, but I like
those shotguns are back though. So it's
1941 though. There's a director's cut that's much better.
Is there?
Yeah, and there's just a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of I like 1941, and they do this whole thing where they have this like dance scene and the fight scene, and it's like one shot. It's just really good. It's anyways. I don't want to keep going on, but yeah. So watch Munich. Don't be scared of heady subjects.
Is that why you think it's forgotten?
I don't know why it's forgotten because it's 20 years old. Maybe because people just don't want. It's a subject that has been talked about ad nauseum. You know what I mean? There's no real. It's not like he did this and nobody knew about it. He did this movie and nobody was aware of the Munich massacre, at least back then, 2005. I mean, it needs to. Yeah, I think this is one of those films that the older we get and the younger generation that comes ahead of us, I think they're going to forget. This is a movie that, it's just they just don't go back to and they'll never see. So it's good that it's out there. It's good that they can go see it. You think you're right. Spielberg has a ton of films and these are not, obviously Munich's not on the top of that list for a lot of people when they talk about Steven Spielberg and why they recommend it, especially for people our age, because they're always going to go to the Jaws and Close Encounters and Raiders and stuff like that. And that's great. And those are great. But those movies are like, old. So it's, he's got the last 20 years, he has made other great films that, you should really just go back and watch, because people at my age and your age have watched Raiders over and over and Jaws every summer, like they watch movies all the time. Watch some of his other movies, like that. I really wish people would just watch his older films too. Like War of the Worlds is really good. Anyways, Minority Report I love. He doesn't. But,
I love Minority Report. We did the episode of Minority Report.
Somebody was telling me that they didn't like Minority Report.
Well, it wasn't me.
Well, it was somebody. I don't know. I'm really hurt. Okay. Yeah. So I got nothing else, man.
Sweet.
Where can they find us?
You can find us at ForgottenCinemaPodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts. You're watching, listening to us, talking to us right now, talking at the screen. Who knows? Why don't you rate, subscribe, comment down below. What's your favorite, historical Spielberg movie? Like the heady Spielberg films. What's your favorite of those? Is it Munich? Is it Schindler's List? Is it Saving Private Ryan? Is it Bridget Spies? Is it Warheart? There's a lot. Let us know in the comments down below. If you want more Forgotten Cinema, we've got our now showing episodes that we do for new films. When you're watching this, it's towards the end of the summer. So we've got a ton of new now showings that we've done throughout the summer. Check those out. We've got our Patreon where we have exclusive episodes there you could check out. We've got our Console to Screen series we did with our buddy Russ Lyman, where we did awesome films based on video.
Do you not remember them? They were not awesome.
They were not awesome. But they were fun to record. We did Doom, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, and the Super Mario Brothers movies. You should check that out. And Tomb Raider. If you want to support us more, go to that Patreon, or we have a merch store as well.
And join us next week as the season 21 wraps up as we go back to 2000 for the Vin Diesel film Pitch Black. That is the first one of, what's the second one called? Chronicles of Riddick?
Chronicles of Riddick, then just Riddick. And then Furia is the one that's filming now.
Oh my God, there's a fourth one?
The last one, yeah.
Oof. All right. Well, we're doing Pitch Black.
I can't believe it's 25 years old.
I can't believe Munich was 20 years old. You're old. That's next week. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I'm Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
And this has been Forgotten Cinema.